barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam to Allah barakatuh.
It's 11 o'clock and the program is built to start by 11. I think it makes sense to start now so that we don't punish those who have been here proud to now. So others, inshallah, they will join us as the program progresses. Once again, welcome to our speaker, our lecturer, our leader who has joined us. And I also welcome the entire guests who are here today. My name is Saeed Bashir. I'm one of the directors in H&H Investment Limited. And I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh once again.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi
wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
They are distinguished members and brothers and sisters, our guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to welcome you to our biannual capacity building seminar, a platform where we deliberately nurture to deepen our collective and understanding of wealth creation as a people, a discipline in investing, as well as long-term financial sustainability. Today's theme of the program is building wealth through real estate investment. Couldn't be more timely or relevant. As personally, as an investment banker operating in the capital markets, as an individual, I've seen firsthand how a diversified portfolio asset allocation serves as a backbone for a resilient portfolio. While some of us invest in equities, in fixed income, and other forms of instruments, no doubt, they provide liquidity and growth opportunities for us. Of course, real estate remains one of the most enduring pathways for wealth creation, or to wealth creation as we might know, as well as wealth preservation, for intergenerational transfer of wealth, and also provide inflation hedging, what we refer to as inflation hedging. Understanding how to participate in this asset class, that is in the real estate space, strategically, prudently, and sustainably is essential for anyone who is a serious investor. So we are privileged as a team, H&H, to have amongst us a distinguished industry leader, a mentor, an uncle, and a father to some of us, Alhaji Sherif Mujirola Yusuf, the chairman of Modesty Capital Limited, as well, who also is a former national president of NASFAT. His depth of experience, both in the business and the community leadership, promises rich insights that will provide that will guide us in navigating the evolving real estate landscape. And I encourage everyone to listen attentively. We should take notes and reflect on the lessons from today's session, which can strengthen our personal investment strategy and contribute to our long-term investment objective. It's on this note I will call on the chairman, our leader, our own Amir, who has of H&H. Okay, before I do that, I think I will just call on Ustaz Arun. One of us, is Ustaz Arun on board? I'm not sure. Ustaz Arun, are you there?
I'm here, inshallah.
Okay, let me call on Ustaz Arun, okay, the Arun Thani, sorry, to give us opening dua, and after which I will call on our chairman, the leader of H&H, to give some opening remarks. Thank you. Ustaz Arun, over to you, sir. Assalamu alaikum, Ustaz.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. All praises and adoration belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Lord of infinite mercy. We give thanks to Him for bringing us together today on this platform, and wherever we are, we also give thanks to Him for the blessings of Islam, the blessings of brotherhood, the blessings of sound health. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to preserve us on goodness. We pray for the leadership of our club. We also pray for all the members. We pray for our guest lecturer, Alhaji Sharif Yusuf. We also pray for all invitees. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our efforts as act of ibadah. May Allah bless our provision. Part of the dua of the Prophet is whenever he prays, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we say, Allahumma barik li fi ma a'atoitani. Oh Allah, the little you give me, please bless it for me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our income. May Allah bless our children, make them the comfort of our eyes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our efforts in this dunya for us as ibadah. Rabbana atina fi dunya asana wa fil akhirati asanatan wa qina adhaban nar. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. May this lecture be a guide to our halal investments individually and collectively. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, Ustaz Harun. So let me also quickly guide us through the agenda for the day. Before I call on our chairman, our own Amir, in the person of Alhaji Abdulrazak Kunle Ashaju, to give his opening remarks. After his opening remarks, we are going to introduce our guest lecturer. And we go into the lecture. After the lecture, we would have a Q&A session where we have feedback from the audience and we can seek clarifications and all that. Then thereafter, vote of thanks and we have closing remarks. So over to you, Alhaji Abdulrazak Ashaju, your opening remarks.
Yeah. TK, are you able to project my speech?
Let me bring it up.
Okay. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, salatu wa salamu ala Rasulullah. I thank everybody that has joined us today, especially our guest speaker, Alhaji Sharif Yusuf. His name has gone far ahead of him. He's someone that many of us look forward to, if not all of us. He has a very intimidating and interesting CV, and he's a landlord to one of my esteemed friends on this platform who was instrumental to getting him to talk to us. So inshallah, I will go through my speech. From here, we have a history. I will not stop telling it because we want people to emulate and join what we are doing and start something similar. Some other people brought us about, so we are also interested in mentoring people with investment clubs. So when we tell our story, it's not because we are beating our chest, it's because we are saying you can start small and grow and scale. May Allah prosper all of us. I wish to welcome you all to today's edition of our regular training program brought to you by H&H Investment Club. H&H means here and the hereafter, meaning that we are working assiduously for here and we are also working strongly for the hereafter. May Allah make the two easy for us to attain. The training series that we do aim at improving our members, our families, as well as the entire Ummah. H&H Investment Club is a member of the TIDCL club, group, an association of Muslim investment clubs across the country that seek to secure our future the halal way by investing in ethical businesses and ventures. We effectively kicked off in February 2008, and we are presently composed of 19 members. Our vision statement is to be a reference point in ethical wealth creation, management, and sustenance, while our mission is to create an enduring wealth by utilizing our diverse professional expertise while pleasing our Creator and impacting positively on our families, Islam, and the entire humanity through investment in halal businesses. So like I said, we are composed of 19 members, which include Alhaji, Alhamdulillah, all of us are Alhaji anyway. So if I don't put it, just add it yourself. Ibrahim Fashola, who is currently with T2 Lagos, a telecommunications company. Taufik Babalola, who is our secretary and the coordinator for today's meeting, is with MTN Nigeria. Adwasiu Otukoya is also with MTN. Afolabi Otufowora, our coordinator for bringing Alhaji here, is of Globalcom Nigeria. Alhaji Said Bashir, FCA, the MD of Meristem Securities, is the one that is moderating today's event. Abdulwahid Bolali Aziz is with Bolamark Engineering. Avatai Hashimi, FCA, is of Pan-African Capital Holdings. Nafi Olushola is the owner and the chairman of Technovatives Limited in Lagos. Kamadi Shonibare is the chairman of International Technologies from Internet. Arogbada Abab Gafar is a renowned consultant in Lagos. Barrister Aleshin Lawyer Ibrahim is of Aleshin Lawyer and Associates Lagos. Fatai Raji, our brother from the US, is a PhD holder, is of Hendricks Regional Head in Indiana, USA. Abdulhamid Olono, FCA, is an insurance and agricultural executive. Dr. Imran Ablatif is the chairman of Beachland Hospitals. And then Barrister Nursu Salau is of Nursu Salau and Co. Ustaz Arun Tani, who gave us the opening dua, is our scholar in-house and is a businessman and Islamic scholar in Ireland. So Abrafiu Adewale Adeyemo is of Globalcom Nigeria. Lukman Taiwo Tukoya is the MD of CNC Technologies Nigeria Limited. And my humble self, Abrasak Ashadu, I'm also of Globalcom. In addition to doing businesses, we also embark on learning, training, and retraining ourselves, as the Prophet ﷺ dictated that we should seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. This we do by alternating between spiritual and material lectures, and in striving for the best here and the hereafter. We also use this program as our own little way of positively impacting the Ummah and giving back to our society. To this end, we have had 18 trainings in the past with renowned professionals and Islamic scholars. So I will also quickly run through in case we have members who want some of these lectures that we still have in our kitty. So we started with understanding the stock market with Mr. Remila Saki, building Islamic home by Sheikh Abdullah Faisal, how to be an effective manager from Alhaji Bade Adeshino, Zakat, why, who, what, when, and for whom, and how, by Sheikh Dhikrullah Shafi, ethics of doing business by Ustaz Abdulaziz Yusuf, operating an SMA in a developing economy, prospect and pitfalls by Alhaji Taufik Agbaje, is also in the diaspora now, handling the dead in Islam by Imam Ibrahim Sayi, preparing for retirement, evaluating the options, our esteemed brother, may Allah have mercy on him, Mudathir Olani Sanud, may Allah be pleased with him. Maintaining family ties, Sheikh Imran Abmajid Eleha, please move ticket. Planning for retirement, halal options by our brother, who was also president of NASFAT and the MD of Iraqi Partners, Brahani Yusuf. Inheritance in Islam by Ustaz Drimidi Jamil. Non-interest banking, essentials, opportunities, and challenges for Muslim entrepreneurs by Alhaji Abdul Fattah Amo. Preponderance of divorce in the Ummah, causes, effect, and solutions. This was given by Imam Abrahman Ahmad, our esteemed father. Ethical investment and sustainable microfinancing model in Nigeria. That was given by our erudite brother, Dr. Jubril Salahuddin. Sustainability and financing strategies for small and medium enterprises in a depressed economy. That was given by Abdulhakeem Oyewale and Alhaji MD Abubakar. Oyewale is the chairman of Mabu Capital, while Alhaji MD Abubakar is the chairman of L&Z Yogurt that all of us love to take. It's from Kano. So, will and inheritance, the Islamic way. This was given by Professor Abdulhakeem Yusuf. It's in the UK. Then emerging opportunities within the Nigerian agro-commodity space, pathway to sustainable foreign exchange. Then we had the last, the penultimate one, which is empowering Muslim families and youth in a globalized world, navigating modern challenges. So, TK, we move. So today's lecture and lecturer, the theme is building wealth with real estate investment. It is a most relevant topic as shelter is a prominent member of the tripod that makes up the basic necessities of life. We other two being food and water. So you can see how important shelter is to human beings. Home, shelter, or accommodation, however you call it, is a necessity for survival. Therefore, shelter will never go out of fashion. An investment in such is a guarantee for wealth, inshallah. It is not surprising, therefore, that anywhere you turn, you see a plethora of real estate companies marketing assorted home options and packages for ownership, investment, or rent, even in the remotest of places. So indispensable has home and real estate matters become that many are falling into hands of fake and dubious real estate companies and agencies. They offer incentives and such ridiculous goodies that many are falling into fictitious and inaccessible properties. They will say it's very close to Arepo. Meanwhile, you are entering inside the murky areas. So, TK, please move on. So leading to distress and aggravated poverty. To guide us into authentic and prosperous investments in real estate, we have brought you a connoisseur, someone with a proven track record in real estate building, marketing, and ownership. To do justice to today's discourse is Alhaji Sheriff Mojirola Yusuf, the chairman of Modesty Properties Limited. He retired from Intercontinental Bank as executive director in 2008 after 35 years of meritorious service. Currently, his Modesty Capital Limited is an investment advisory and trading enterprise with particular interest in real estate, financial investment, and venture capital. Reputed for integrity, prudence, and ethical discipline, Alhaji Yusuf was the president of NASFAT between 2010 and 2014. TK, please move. So, dear brothers and sisters and our esteemed guests, who else could address the issue of real estate investment and property and prosperity other than a man of this fascinating CV? I urge you to mute your devices and remain attentive to get the best of today's sessions. Inshallah, this lecture will be recorded and will be made available to interested participants for reference. Many of you have pre-registered and will automatically get the recordings through the email you provided. I wish to thank all our invitees for honoring us. We urge Muslims, finally, to establish more investment clubs. We and other existing clubs will, inshallah, be ready to mentor you. May Allah make today's training a lesson learned favorable and lessons learned favorable hujjah for us on the day of Qiyamah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, our chairman, Alhaji Abdulrazak Kunle Ashaju. I will quickly call on one of us, the headship of our training arm, in person of Alhaji Afolabi Otufowura, to introduce our guest lecturer for today. Over to you, please.
Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, our chairman has given a very brief introduction of Alhaji Yusuf, but he's a man of very intimidating profile, and we'll just quickly share with you a little bit more details about him, or we have him present his paper. Like the chairman said, Alhaji had a glorious career as a thoroughbred banker and accountant, spanning over 35 years. He made his mark in the Nigerian banking industry in 1987 and 2008 as a leader, mentor, and mentor in the profession. Voluntary retirement in 2008 at the level of executive director in the erstwhile Intercontinental Bank, into Present Access Bank, now one of the leading banks in Nigeria. Alhaji Yusuf graduated with the class upper degree in accountancy from the University of Nigeria in 1983 and followed this with a master's degree in finance in 1986 from University of Lagos. A fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Nigeria, started his working life as a lecturer in the Federal Polytechnic Nasarawa, currently an auditor, Lagos, embarked on his banking career in 1980s. He distinguished himself very quickly as a resourceful banker and rose rapidly through the ranks to the executive director grade, Continental Bank PLC, about 12 years ago. In the course of his banking career, he received professional training in stellar institutions like Lagos Business School, IMD, Switzerland, Insead Business School, France, Columbia University Business School, Citibank School of New York, Chicago Business School, many others. Banking with distinction, functions such as marketing, business development, lending, treasury management, corporate finance, branches development, international operations administration, and capital management. However, he was best known for his outstanding skills in corporate lending and management time in the profession. Alhaji Yusuf now runs Modesty Capital Limited, an investment advisory enterprise with particular interests in real estate, financial investments, and venture capital. As the chairman CEO, widely reputed for his moral uprightness, ethical discipline, and financial prudence in his business and social business. Known for his passionate pursuit of excellence, equity, and social balance in all affairs without reservations, expressing his faith as a practice. The long-standing member NASFAT, an association of elite Muslims in which he served as president in 2010 and 2015. Currently serves in non-executive capacity as chairman of Crescent Registrars Limited and Eminent Quarries Limited. Recently retired as chairman of Tasfan Tours and Travels Limited and Top Tech Engineering Limited, as well as a director in John Holt PLC, amongst other corporate boards. He also served meritoriously in governance, Fountain University Governing Council, and still supports the university as a gold member of Fountain University Patron School. Found origin of Lagos Island with family roots in Isaleko, neighborhood, happily married. Alhaji Yusuf, we thank you very much for accepting to enlighten us this area of the expert. And we pray, inshallah, that the knowledge received from this will be beneficial. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, dear brother. Over to you, sir. Alhaji Sharif Yusuf.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sir.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank the leadership and the members of the H&H Investment Club for inviting me to this forum and for the very glowing introduction that has been made, which I think it's a little bit exaggerated, but alhamdulillah, whatever you said, I've claimed it. May Allah make it manifests even higher in the lives of each and every one of you as well. Okay, so the first thing we are going to let me work out is, to deal with the technology. As you see from the profile, I think my generation is a little bit, more aged than the rest of you. So I can't boast of supreme competence with all this technology, but I think maybe I can do it. So I'd like to share, to do the sharing of screen to present the paper. If I can't, the paper is already in the hands of the leaders.
We can share on your behalf. We just be moving.
But let me try it first.
Okay,
I think I should be able to do it. Okay. Can you see any screen shared?
Not yet, sir. But
not yet, sir.
You are viewing Sharif Yusuf's screen, so it's almost on. So
okay.
you have not projected the file itself, the document itself.
It's
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
fantastic, sir.
fantastic. Okay, you've seen it now.
Just give us full screen.
All right, maybe I've learned a little. I asked one of my sons to put me through before this session.
If you click full screen, it will give us the full picture, sir.
Okay.
Your cursor is on full screen already, but you've just moved it away from there. Go down a little bit. Next one.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Is it okay now?
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Okay. So again, I say good morning, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's my honor and privilege to, make this presentation. But first, let me, do a little confession. I'm not the deep-rooted or, original practitioner of real estate, as it may seem. I'm what we call accidental participant in the real estate trade or in the real estate practice. Just like one of our brothers called himself accidental public servant. My own venture into real estate, I would say, is accidental because in the course of my banking career, at the closing part of it, I was assigned the portfolio of supervising our branches development. We had a strategy then to aggressively grow the branches of the bank at the time, and it was under my purview to pursue it. So at that time, we were actively looking for, site, and it was the policy of the bank not to. He said we prefer to own rather than let. So we're looking for prime property which we could buy, acquire as virgin land, or as a property we could modify to suit own style. And that exposed me to dealing with real estate. And along that, I had a very close interaction with a subsidiary that we had, which was Intercontinental Properties Limited, which was also just starting. And, I was also privileged to be part of those that mentored and guided the growth of that company. And the progress that was recorded on both fronts encouraged me to start while I was in the bank as a passive investor in properties. In fact, my first foray was, Intercontinental Properties wanted to develop an estate. And pretty typically, they don't use borrowed money. So they would rather, put out the units and sell upfront from the plan. And MD of the company at that time will encourage me and a few other executives to also come and buy. Of course, my means was very little. And then I will put a little money. So at that time, it's a long time ago, maybe they would typically sell a unit of a house for 35 or 40 million. And all I could muster at that time would be like 5 million. So they don't need more than that at the beginning, but they will always call for additional payments, 3 months, 6 months, until, their delivery never exceeded a year and you have to finish paying. So when I paid 5 million, especially for the first one, and then the next payment was going to come up in another 3 months and they needed another 10 million, for instance. And then they say, okay, come and pay the next 10 million. Well, sorry, I didn't have any more money. So all I had was what I gave you. So, well, okay, we can do something about that. All right, so if you don't have, then we already finished selling. but some people are still interested in buying. And by this time, we could up the price. So property that was offered for 35 million is now going to be sold to a new buyer at 45 million. And the bank will say, okay, because you are the registered holder right now, we'll sell it for 45 million, and then we'll split the extra. So they will sell it for 45 million, maybe collect about 20 million from the new buyer, and then return my own 5 million plus extra 5 million in 3 months. God, I didn't own any house. And immediately it occurred to me that this could be a very, very profitable trade. Okay, so that's the accident by way of explanation. So the presentation here is to, narrate to you from my own experience in dealing with real estate at a very modest scale. What I knew to be the requirements, the technicalities, the guides that, enthusiast that is now willing or focusing on choosing real estate as a subject of investment for the purpose of wealth acquisition should follow to be safe and to be fulfilled at the end of the journey. Okay, so what are real estate investments in itself? Real estate involve the acquisition of proprietary rights over land, developments on the land, or all other representations of that land, which typically will require an initial capital investment, capital outlay, and then with a view, with an objective of generating beneficial returns over time. So the type of rights that you are going to acquire could be outright ownership of the land or the development or the rights or the site, a leasehold of it, a tenancy in it. You could just participate in the construction and development of the property, or you could be a professional partaking in the value chain between the raw land until the desired or final development. And the investment horizon is also very variable. We could partake in it for short-term gains, and then you could be in the long. You could also play in the long term, or you stay in the middle, medium term. After all, somebody said the long term that we always talk about is an accumulation or amalgamation of so many short terms. So whatever suits, a particular, aspiration or risk appetite is what is good enough. The popular objectives, what the objectives for investing in real estate is not only for wealth, it could be for a couple of other reasons. So it could be for financial, capital gain, capital appreciation, because typically we believe real estate will always grow in value, typically. But we're going to get to a level where we could see that may not hold sometimes, but it could be for other reasons. Some people acquire properties or real estate just as a symbol of wealth, to be able to fit the label of those in the upper class, those in the landlord's category who are wealthy. Yeah, everybody that owns properties, typically in Nigeria, maybe in Africa, is generally regarded as wealthy. But truly, in real terms, that may not always follow. We could also invest in real estate for steady income, from the letting proceeds. You get a comfortable stream of good income. We could do it for the purpose of securing accommodation. I think our chairman mentioned it. One of the major physiological needs of man is accommodation, shelter. So you want to secure one, at least for your own family. And then what a lot of us in Africa also adopt, either consciously or unconsciously, is to acquire for legacy endowments. You want to leave something to your children and survivors by the time you pass on. That will also secure them in terms of shelter and in terms of provisions or wealth for their own living. But the most important, in my own view, most important benefits we always get from real estate investment is its capacity to give you financial leverage. You acquire real estate not for the sake of it, not even just for the sake of holding your money or giving you some modest return annually, but for the sake, for the importance, for its ability to be used to be able to access new capital that you could invest in other high prospect businesses. So is it only real estate if you're looking for wealth? If our objective is to be wealthy, to look for wealth, is it only real estate that we could invest in? Definitely not. In fact, sometimes I look at it and say, well, it's the most popular subject of investment. It's not just now, it's over the years. It's legendary. We consciously or unconsciously acquired it from our parents. And it has also, entered into our psyche. So once you have some little sizable money, you are looking for a real estate, investment to put it into. But in terms of building wealth, there are in this country today so many other, more higher prospect, subjects of investment, which provide much bigger returns or yields on investment. In energy and infrastructure, oil and gas, until recently was probably the best yielded investment anybody could make, but maybe not anymore. Now we are talking about telecommunications. We are talking about information technology, financial technology. Those are yielding much better. No talk of those that are doing what they call the cryptos, and they probably are, practically creating money or multiplying money, even though we as Muslims may not agree with some of the underlying subject matter. You could also invest in manufacturing. We have still aluminum works, mining solid minerals, agriculture, agro-processing. Creative industry is also very, very good. What the young lads of these days are making in music, cinematography, arts and artifacts is mind-boggling. Also, in considering the plethora of investment, opportunities, 2 guide factors I always recommend. Invest only in what you know, what you understand. So if you don't know or you don't understand and you still want to invest, then invest in an expertise that you trust. Somebody who knows, somebody who understands, that you now trust, you have trust in. Then you can invest in that one. Either of those two. If you can't find any one of those two, just keep your money in a bank, in bank deposit. It will be safe enough. Segmental options in real estate. So it's not, there are so many just like I said, a value chain, a very rich value chain in real estate practice. You could start with the virgin land itself. So you have a land. If you are able to get the land, you buy the land, and then you decide what to do on the land. You could be, after investing in the land, you could stop there, or you could proceed to say, let's develop the land. Then you are now going to be creating structures that will fit either residential, commercial, industrial, recreational, or other purposes. Then, in looking for opportunities in real estate, there are so many situations that open up opportunities. One of them is what they call urban renewal projects. Urban renewal project is to look at what has been developed in a particular good prospect area in the past, and then modernity has now overtaken it. Then you have to redevelop. If you looked at Lagos Island, where I come from, 30 years ago, it looks nothing, no semblance. If you compare what it was 30 years ago to what it is today, they have no relationship whatsoever. So you could look at a geographical area and say, look, we want to redevelop the entirety of this area. It will cost money, but at the end of the day, it usually comes with profitability. You could also do a site improvement. Even a building that is already existing, it's already there and working, but this thing could function better. So we are if you have a one-story building in Victoria Island, for instance, on a high street in Victoria Island, you are underutilizing it. So somebody with a very good insight will say, okay, buy the one-story building together with the land, knock it down, and then put up a 10-story there. That's a way of adding value. So then we could also just focus on the professional services in the real estate value chain. So those will be people who are real estate managers that are looking for viable land and properties to buy, and then they will connect with available buyers. The architects, the engineers, other technical services, they are all participants. And then we have the financiers as well. So those that are always ready. Some people are there only for financing, and they can finance the development. They can support they can support the developers as well to get supplies, acquire prospective buyers. Financing is also a major practice in the value chain. Then we have forms of engagement in real estate. Real estate is practically available to everybody. Like I said, it's a legacy investment subject that we have acquired or we inherited from our parents and grandparents. It has always been there. In fact, if you are growing up as a young man, once you start working, and they know you could at least feed yourself, feed your family, and put a little bit extra aside, the first question your parents will ask you is, what's your plan for building a house? What's your plan for acquiring your own property? It is always there. But the size and the scale of such properties varies very, very widely. So, but everybody is eligible to participate once you are a little bit, your head is a little bit above water. So investment scale could be micro, which is you could buy a plot of land in your village. It doesn't have to be in Lagos. For our brothers, the Igbos, who are probably the best, even though without any formal trading in this property business, their first interest is to acquire, the place where they run their trade. So if they are traders, most of them are traders. Their shops is their first real estate investment, not the houses they live in. So you start, you could make it small, you could graduate to medium, and then there's a large scale level. The ownership too, so depending on the scale you want to run, you could run solo. It could depend only on your own and your own pocket, what you can afford, what you can muster. Or could, maybe build a company, invite other shareholders to partake and pool capital. You could also do an investment club, just like H&H, just like an H&H, and you undertake joint ventures. You pool your capital and you're able to invest it in certain skills of property. Or you go all out and become a public limited company with big structure and access to public capital. The dealing could be, you could just focus on trading to say, look, we are only going to be a property trading company, real estate trading. So that means if we buy land, we'll sell the land. If we buy a house, we'll sell the house. If we buy a flat, we'll sell the flat. If we buy a farmland, we'll sell the farmland. You are just trading. And that could be very, very good business to people who know what they are doing. Or you could just focus and say, we are a property development company. So we'll look for land. In fact, we could outsource the land, getting the land. And once we have a land, then that's when we come in. We'll put on it something we believe is going to be commercially viable. And then you can then now sell it or hold it for as long as you want to keep. And then the third level is the property services. Those professionals, we are just estate managers. We are just facilitators, but operating within the real estate value chain as well. So you have the estate managers, the engineers, the consultants, the marketers. So it's important we always define, where do we want to play? How do we want to play in the real estate value chain? We also have to decide what type of developments are we developing. If we are developing, then it's very, very key to fit the development to the market space. That is the potential users of the development. So when you are doing residential, you want to build single occupier detached homes, or what we call the twin duplexes, dual occupiers, or multiple occupiers. You do a set of terraces, or what the Americans call the condominiums. And then you could develop a whole estate that will be a combination of all the options. Or you could focus on the commercial development, which would be for hotels and leisure, conferencing facilities, event centers, what they call, amusement, facilities. You could also do markets, a whole market. Like at the time, Lagos was replete with market redevelopments. Alade market, every market that is, they will knock down what is there and then they redevelop with a view to selling the units. I think Falomo is stuck somewhere now, but in Yaba, that was done very successfully. So we have shops, and then we have malls. Malls is also very, very popular, although that goes on a higher scale. And so we could also focus on storage and warehouses, office complexes, multi-story buildings that will only host offices. If you are developing industrial or agricultural structures, we could focus on the manufacturing plants, factories, agricultural farmland, grazing lands, etc. There's also the mixed use facility, mixed use option, where you see this in very, very popular commercial centers, where a single structure will combine residential, commercial purposes, essentially. So you have residences, which apartments that could be given out to people who desire it. Within the same complex, you have a hotel. And within the same complex, you have conferencing facilities. It's called mixed-use developments, and they could be very, very, very profitable if well developed. We need to talk about the fallacies around real estate. There are a lot of some assumptions that may not be very, very true. The first one is that you can't go wrong with real estate. Once you put your money on a land or house or somewhere, it will always yield good returns. That may not be true. We have seen investments in real estate that are totally negative. You may not even get your capital, not to talk of a profit. Then real estate investment will perpetually appreciate in value if it may not work that way. As we are going to see somewhere else, the most important determinant of value in real estate is location. A location that is good today is not also guaranteed to be good tomorrow. So if the status of that location changes, the value of that investment will change as well. The other thing is that, nothing could threaten your holding in real estate. That's also not true. You could be in a place. I've encountered a situation before where a family has lived somewhere for 30 years, more than that. And then the day they decided they were going to now do a business, do a transformation of that property, another family showed up and said, no, this property is our own. It's not yours. And you could be in that disputation for years. Then transferability is another challenge. So if you have, even nothing is threatening you, but you need to transfer from one party to another, there could be very serious legal hindrances along the line. But in spite of what is important is to be mindful of all these possible difficulties. It doesn't remove anything from the high prospect, the potential prospect of the real investment itself. Okay, the benefits we can get, as we have mentioned, is security of value. A lot of people put their money in real estate just for the money to be safe. They may not be even too interested in the income generation. Just What if they have extra money and they don't want that money to lie fallow, or probably some even for people to get to know too much, they put it in real estate. One of the benefits is steady income generation. If you let it out, it will give you steady income generation. Then the value will potentially, continue to grow. One of the ways of hedging inflation may not be very perfect, but one of the ways of hedging inflation is to put your money in real estate. Over time, even though it could be slow, real estate investment, real estate value will reflect the monetary value itself. That is, it will appreciate with good coverage for the inflation. And then I already mentioned this: the best value of real estate is potential benefit of leverage. That is, you could pledge it as collateral and release capital from it, where you can invest in other opportunities. Well, on that, I want to recommend for you. I've forgotten the author now. There's a book. It's called Mystery of Capital. Mystery of Capital, one of my older friends, gave it to me many years ago. It's one of the best reads that I've read, because it has to do with real estate. And the summary of the book is that the author says he was amazed because he lived in the third world, where the part of the world that is normally called third world, that is Africa and some other places like that. And he lived in the Western world. And he says, in terms of attitude, industry, creativity, energy of the peoples, he couldn't see any difference. The people in the third world are as hardworking, as industrious as those other people. It's not as if they are not even more intelligent in a lot of cases. But perpetually, you see the people in the third world continuously being poor, while those other ones with very, very little, doing very, very little, are able to live comfortably in the middle class. And from a study, he said it's because the little capital that they are able to muster in the third world, our own world, is that the people work hard, they make some money, whatever little money that they are able to make, they invest it in real estate. They build a house, they get a pharmacy, and that estate stays dead. What they call it is becomes dead capital. All the money that the man has in his world, they put it in a house for his family to live in, and that does not yield him anything in terms of ability to progress his wealth. Whereas in the Western world, once they don't even need other money to be able to build a house. But even if they are able to build a house, they put their money in the house, immediately they release the money, and they are able to move into the next investment and move into another investment. So there's a difference between the two. Whatever investment we have in real estate, we should make sure that it is in a form that is going to be attractive, acceptable to a financier to take and release new capital, which you can use to take advantage of emerging opportunities. Okay, so we talked about emotional benefits. Housing security for our family, pride of ownership. A lot of people just want to count the number of houses they have in this town. You know how many houses I have. So maybe that adds to their ego. That's fine. And then for legacy endowments. Okay, so I've mentioned it along the line. Potential risks in real estate. There's a market risk, so real estate will eventually reflect the inflationary value of your money. But it could be very sticky. It could be very, very slow. Moving up is going to be slow, but it's also is a benefit that moving down is also very, very slow. This as well, but it can move up, it can move down, but eventually it will reflect the inflationary value of money. There could be legal complications if you don't watch the title. Title to property is a major factor in determining whether that property is going to have value or not. If you don't have legal title at the time of acquisition, it doesn't make it useless. You can work on it and then acquire it, but you must always have your eyes on the legal title. We also have regulatory problems. The moment you start developing, especially, so all kinds of authorities will pounce on that site and start giving you problem. So my advice is you must know all the approval, all the regulations that needed to be cleared, and then make sure that you secure it before you move into those developments. A major issue in real estate is design errors, which can either make or mar, the value of an investment. So if in a particular location, what people prefer are their own, exclusive holdings, exclusive apartments, and then you go and develop shared accommodation there, it could be a problem. Or if what people really are looking for in a particular location are commercial, they are looking for offices, they are looking for hotel accommodation, and then you are going to design a mansion, very luxury flat, etc., for sale in the place. So matching the design to the potential users' need or demands in a particular location is a big risk that we must do our best to solve before going into development. And then the biggest problem in real estate, especially in the development, where you have to process, is financial. Where you do not match, the requirements to budget. So we know all our budget could muster is 100 million. Then you go and face a project of 500 million without making adequate provision for where the other money is going to come from. Could make assumption, once we buy it, once we show the certificate, people will start falling over themselves to make deposit to us. Sometimes it doesn't work out like that. The biggest error will be to go and put all the money that you can muster in a development. Development is not completed. Your money is stuck. You can't go forward. You can't go backwards. It's a very, very, very big potential pitfall in real estate investments. So budgeting and financing mismatch, cost overruns is also a big issue. So when you don't budget properly and you underestimate your budget, then you are now going to face the reality of additional costs. And then very, very importantly, we must bear in mind, always, have the consciousness that liquidity is very, very poor in real estate investments. It's not a very liquid investment subject. Once you put your money in real estate, you can't recall it the next day. To be able to get it back takes a lot of time. And if you have to be forced to realize the money more quickly than the market will normally accommodate, then you will have to suffer substantial losses in that move. Okay, so just a collation of what we'll be saying. determinants of value in real estate. So these are the guides to be conscious of, to use as your roadmap when you are thinking of going into real estate investment. The first one, probably the most important, is location. The biggest value of real estate comes from the location. If you get the location right, it will determine value of your investment. And theoretically, what is required for investment will also be determined, will vary according to the location. One piece of land, one parcel of land in Victoria Land or Ikoyi is going to be different from one parcel of land in Ikeja, and that Ikeja is going to be different from Mushi. Mushi is going to be different from Agege. That's the way it will vary. The location will determine the value. The next that will determine value is, do you have registered title? Not just title, but registered title. Is the title that is registered that is real title? So if you are dealing in real estate and you want to acquire that property, look for a registered title. But if it is not, if there is no registered title, it doesn't make it useless. You can still acquire it. You will have to now do your best to be sure there is no contending claim. And the way to do that most of the time, which I've undertaken, is not to fully pay. So if you are happy, you really desire that site, you make a part payment and you move to the site. If you move to the site and you started doing one thing or the other on the site, you will know whether there's a contest, somebody that will contest the title. And then if there is no contest to the title, you are happy with it, then you have to now put your papers together to go and register that title. It's always possible, as long as there is no clash of claim on it. Then the third one is your design. Especially with development, it has to be user aligned. The design, what you are designing to develop on the property, has to match what the potential users are would really appreciate. So you must be focused on quality finishing. If you get everything right, the location is good, the title is good, the designs are good, and you put two developments side by side, one could command a premium simply because of the finishing quality than the other one. So finishing quality is very, very important. And you need to now plan and organize to be sure that you manage costs effectively. So you get the most cost-efficient professionals to work for you. Regulatory compliance is very, very important. So the first part of regulatory is to register your title. Then if you want to develop, you must engage professionals to develop your plan, the engineering plan, building control regulations. All of them are going to show their faces. But as long as you know what is required to be done, if you take the step in advance and engage them, it's not as difficult as waiting for them to come and pounce on you and then disturb your plan of development. So we always recommend engage competent professionals. It doesn't have to be the most esoteric or elitist firms. There are professionals even at your own level that you know, and you know of their competence. Engage them, let them do the work for you. Let's quickly look at the available financing options. I think we already mentioned some. So the most common in our environment is equity. We use our own money. We use our own money to develop, to acquire real estate and to develop it. But that shouldn't be. We are underplaying under exploiting our potentials in the real estate. It should be leveraged, and we should be able to use little that we are able to muster to give comfort to the financier, raise more money, and then do something much bigger. So you could do your solo, which is the most common. You could do a private equity pool, just like H&H is doing. You could do corporate equity, structured private pools, and what they call real estate investment trust. That is, you want to securitize a pool of funds. So everybody bring their own little pool. You give each person a certificate. That certificate potentially they could be able to trade it. They could pledge it. They could discount it. That should be able to make it more attractive. But the concept is that let us bring a large number of players together, pool their funds to be able to do something substantial. We also do strategic partnerships. So when you acquire a site and you do off-plan discounted sales, that's a way of financing it. Some people do joint venture. That means somebody has the land, somebody will bring the capital to do the development, and then they share the units that is developed. And then we have the development partnerships. So every player that is going to play there will become partners in that project. Even the architect who could be a partner will offer his own service as a partnership. So we also have co-investment structures. One of the most creative that we saw recently is what they call cooperative. The idea of cooperative. It has also worked. So when we put our monies together and we say we are a cooperative, we want to jointly, undertake this purpose. And that purpose is not going to serve only us, it will serve multitude others. All of them coming in as members, not just as commercial buyers or sellers. Then we look at debt financing. Debt financing, bank loans, private loans, corporate bonds, mezzanine financing. For a long-term basis, the real estate investment is not something that, except it's trading. The trading segment of it could be relatively short in term. But when you're looking at development, it's a very long-term business. To get the payback and then be able to pay back bank loans is always very, very long. Where the finance infrastructure is well developed, as in the Western world, it's good for them. They have a 25-year tenure for their loans, for their mortgage loans, and people could repay over that time. But in Nigeria, the financial infrastructure is not that deep. So the banks, because of the environment, are not able to offer such a long-term loans. And again, the interest factor is extremely costly. So it is impossible. In fact, it will be suicidal for anybody to go and take a bank loan, commercial bank loan, and say, I'm using it to develop, an estate which I want to hold, not sell, which I want to hold and then pay back the bank over 5 years, over 10 years or more. So at 30% or 35%, that will be killing. But if you could get soft loan, as like a Federal Mortgage Bank or Bank of Industry would offer at 8%. But what a lot of people do is, the mezzanine or the bridging finance. They say, all right, I will take a loan to complete my development. Then immediately I'm completing my development, or before I put it up for sale, I immediately pay back the loans. That is a workable solution. So not just before the final. Let us look at models of success and cautions. Successful stories in what are called creative real estate ventures. One that I say is USC Properties. It is important we always look out for opportunities. Sometimes opportunities they don't give warning. They will just surface, and then they will only be available to those that have positioned themselves to be very, very ready. One of the reasons we are saying, if you are privileged to have a real estate investment, don't keep it in your cupboard. All the real estate investments, not many of them, but all of them that I have in my name is in a bank. I'm not borrowing every time, but it's in the bank. The bank is happy with it. If I call the bank tomorrow and say, I need this amount of money, they are happy to give me. So the same thing, this is what happened in it should be about year 2000 or thereabout, when Obasanjo was still president. I decided to sell the federal government interest in so many real estates. USC Properties bought 1,004 estates. They renovated it and sold it. It's one of the most profitable deals they ever did. Almost the same thing happened in UBM Properties, who bought UBM Properties Limited, who bought Marble House. And you could also see Bicotany Limited, who acquired the then Murtala Mohammed Airport, and then did a makeover, and they are making a lot of money on it up to today. One of the most creative and high prospect is still being replicated today is Gibraltar Properties, which is owned by our brother Olu Okewo, the Parkview Estates. When you decide, in fact, that concept is so vast and is still potentially there. All the what we call lagoon front in Lagos Island, in Lagos, they are potential gold mines. And all he did was to say, so let us, take over some part of the lagoon, adjourn it to Ikoyi. It becomes part of Ikoyi, and then they sell they develop it, reclaim the land, and they begin to sell it. It's the same concept they're using in Banana Island, and on a much grand scale. Is the same concept that they are using in Eco Atlantic City. Don't know, I don't have their figures, but such things in very good high-brow locations, they never fail. Okay, so there are other models that are on a more modest level. Megamall Properties, Intercontinental Homes and Properties, family land development. Family land development too, because they are in a privileged position. Onikoyi, all these people, because I grew up in Lagos Island, Onikoyi, Onirele Gushi, etc. We knew them as white cap chiefs. All of a sudden, all of them start saying, that the whole of that neighborhood, the whole of that area was our forefathers that settled there. So we are the owners. And they go to court, and God says, yeah, that's true. So they must give them the property, even though they had no money. Some people will bring money, they will reclaim it, make it good, and they start selling for very big money. So it's the same concept all of them followed. But the one that is very, very creative of their own is the Urban Housing Cooperative at Badore, which was championed by a gentleman. He was in the military then, Colonel Rees. Just gathered a few people together, maybe they are indigenous of that neighborhood, and say, look, we can create a cooperative here. Everybody is a member. Come, let us acquire a huge parcel of land, and then we start, putting infrastructure there and start selling to new members. As new members are coming, they are buying at a higher value. The older members get their own at very, very low rate, and they enjoy the infrastructures that is being built with the monies of new joiners. It's a very, very creative and valuable concept. But there are negative examples as well. Incidentally, UAC Property that we cited before is also featuring. UAC Properties made an acquisition in what was called Doba Hotel at Festac. There's this set of buildings that the federal government, built for legislators at that time. Eventually, they sold it to Doba Hotel. UAC Property went to buy from Doba Hotel, and it's nearly wrecked the company. Nearly. In fact, I'm not sure they really recover because UAC Properties has now been bought over by another company. Because but the problem is that it was grossly overpriced, and then they used very high cost debt finance on the project. They couldn't turn to cash in a very short time. That's a big danger. Lekki Gardens, I don't know if you've heard of them. They are still operating. Incidentally, they don't use this name again because the name has become bastardized. So they will go and acquire a property and start developing in a very prime area and offer prices that could be discounted from the market at about 30 to 40%. So that attracts a lot of people to bring money to them. But they will eventually disappoint. I know somebody that has given them money now for more than 5 years. That development has not gotten anywhere. So and then they had the failure, massive failure on the construction collapse. So that's why they are not using Lekki Gardens again. But they are still using other names with the same concept. Underprice, attracts gullible buyers. They will deliver to some. Incidentally, some people will be lucky; they will get their own, but a lot of buyers will be ripped off. The same thing happened. Well, it's a different problem. Bikontini Limited acquired the right to develop a hotel in the same airport where they did the airport. They acquired the right to develop a hotel just behind it. That has been stopped because the government changed their mind and said no, they don't want a hotel in that place, and that thing has been stuck. The same company acquired the right to redevelop a federal secretariat in Ikoyi, and then that is also stalled because Lagos State government said no, we will not approve what you want to do there. So they couldn't get anywhere. Whatever money that is invested in it is stuck. Nobody could get any benefit. There's a friend of mine, Equity Homes, that got a land and started developing an estate in Surulere there. Before they could get to any level, some families showed up and said they are the owners of the land, and they were stuck in the legal disputation for years, until they had to go and pay that family again to double the purchase cost. That development automatically ended in a loss. So we should be aware and be cautioned with these examples. So my final slide is our recommended guide to accidental or passive players in real estate like me. The first thing is to clarify your intention. What are you looking for? Steady income, security of capital appreciation, legacy for next generation, or you really want to, grow the portfolio, leverage and create bigger things with your engagement in real estate. Once the objective is clear, then you can begin to set the strategy. What budget are you working with? How much money do you have in the pocket? And immediately we know our budget, then we know where we can play. Where can that budget fit? So is this budget finite? That means we're able to put together only 100 million. That's all we have. That's what we will invest. Then you know how to plan with 100 million. But we also have a budget to say, look, this 100 million, we are going to leverage it. We are going to locate somewhere and attract people to come and do off-plan purchase, or we are going to attract a bank that can finance our development before we sell. So you must be able to choose carefully. This, my budget, what is the best location where it can fit, and then return something respectable to me. We can then, so it will also determine the scale. Your budget will determine the scale at which you are going to operate. You can't have 100 billion and say you want to do a development of 5 billion. It doesn't connect at all. You must undertake comprehensive due diligence, especially with property title. You need to clarify that before you commit your money. Beyond that, then determine every regulatory requirement that is stipulated for your plan and make sure that you comply with it. Warning, you must resist pressure and haste. You never do real estate business in a haste. You must never be in a hurry for whatever reason. It's better, and it happens a couple of times, that you miss an opportunity because you don't understand what is being presented, or you have not studied what is being presented. You do not appreciate, you can't see through what is being presented. Then you rush into it, and then you find yourself in the conundrum. So you must resist pressure until you are very, very clear with the investment horizon. You must confirm holistic viability. That is, from beginning to the end, you can see it before you even take the first step. The worst potential risk in real estate is liquidity trap. That is, once you have invested money, that money is locked there. If you are under pressure, you can't get it out very, very quickly. And if you have to be pressured into getting it out, it's going to be certainly at a loss. So you need to be patient. You need to be informed as to all the necessities, all the factors surrounding the potential investment before we make even the first. So that's the presentation. I thank you all for listening. Maybe I took a little bit more time than budgeted. I apologize.
Thank you so much, sir. Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Jazakumullah khairan. We are most grateful for wonderful delivery.
Yeah, it is. You cannot define as finite all the potential hindrances. Some of them are nuisance factors, actually, that could come up after, clearing what you consider to be the necessary papers. The most important one is your title. If your title is secure, you have your building plan secured, you have the building control certification secured, you are good. Those are the most basic ones. But it doesn't preclude other people coming to disturb. There was a site we are in, and thought we were good and go. Ministry of Transport came and said, "Look, you are violating something. What has Ministry of Transport got to do with this building?" And then they said, "No, next door we have allowed some mechanics to be working. A motor mechanic which is under transportation, and you are disturbing them. So you should stop." Or Ministry of Environment will come and say, "You are disturbing the environment. Oh, you are disturbing the gutter." All that will also come. But, so you must be prepared to deal with those, I will call minor disturbances. As long as the major requirements, the major regulatory requirements, you have covered.
Thank you so much, sir. The second question, another question says, please, what are the potential red flags to look out for in a real estate investment? Even though I believe your delivery covers that, maybe you just want to mention briefly, sir, again.
Okay. So like we mentioned, potential red flags is in financial mismatch, so not getting your budget aligned to your finances, not choosing your location professionally, not designing your development to suit the potential users, and then falling into liquidity trap. So those are the basic risks to look out for.
Okay. Thank you, sir. May I call on Abbas? After Abbas, then Alhaji Wasiu Otukoya. Abbas first, please. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thanks, Alhaji Said, moderator, and our speaker. Really appreciate. Please, just a quick clarification for me. And it really baffles me when you mention that even when that the status of a location can even change. So I was just wondering then, what else will not give somebody guarantee before you go into investment? Because like you did mention repeatedly that location is one of the things that you consider before you invest. So if you consider location and you now invest, and are saying that is it possible that status can change, then that means that one will still run into the risk. So to really make it not clear again. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, very brilliant question. So it's just like life. And you say, look, so are there all the safeguards I can, take, all the cautions I can take to make sure that I don't ever fall sick, or I don't have headache, or nothing will happen to me, or I will not die. It's practically impossible. So location is the most important consideration that you do, and you take time to determine a good location, and you invest in a good location. All of a sudden, government wakes up tomorrow and say, "Well, we need that place. We want to redevelop it for some other thing," and they acquire it. And which you have seen in Lagos, for instance, when they were developing, when they are doing the Badagry Road. Those who know about it, the Gomu from Orile Gomu to Badagry, when they started redeveloping it, all the developments that were by the side of the road, they are one of the most lucrative commercial locations you can think. So anybody having that location must be feeling really good to determine a good location. But all of a sudden, government said, we need to expand the road. And so everybody that is in the corridor of that road, some of them were cleared off altogether. Some of them lost a substantial part of their site. They will be compensated, but it will never fit. So location, as good as you may be, whatever you have, studied to decide whether it's good enough, it's fine, but it can change. It can change.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Okay,
yeah.
Abdulwasi Otukoya, please. If your question has been taken, could you please lower your hand? Abdulwasi Otukoya.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Alhaji Sherif, for that was a very insightful presentation. I mean, I've really learned a lot from you for the presentation. Jazakumullahu khairan. So my question is, in your opinion, or let me say your preference, would you say that debt financing is something that is recommended for real estate developments, going by the volatility of the environment and Nigeria of today? What is the best way to finance real estate development? Because the reason for this is I've seen quite a number of people who who have been trapped. I think you mentioned the example earlier. A developer comes to say, okay, come and buy unit, 70 million. They buy the unit 5 years ago till today. It's not. It is still, there are no houses. Even sometimes the property prices have been increased twice, thrice. Yet they are still not able to deliver, and those people are not. Not but it's not just one developer. I've seen some of my colleagues in my office, people that I know, extended family members who are having this problem, and I don't just want to say that okay, it's just that those developers were being dubious. So that's why I'm asking: is it that they got the financing wrong? What went wrong? So for somebody who wants to go into property development, what is the kind of financing mix that can deal with the volatility of the economy that we are seeing? Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
All right. I think your question is, throwing up two perspectives. One perspective is a developer who is developing and is looking for how to finance that development. The other perspective is a potential buyer who is looking at the risk of, okay, if I buy, will they deliver? So if I take the one from a developer who is looking for how to develop, okay, how do I finance my development? And he chooses to finance the development by investing his own money and then, selling to potential buyers off plan. It is a viable as long as is very sincere with it, and he did the calculations right. He did the budgeting right. If he gets it wrong, then he puts everybody in trouble. So for people who are buying, my advice is study your seller. You need to assess who you are buying from. Don't buy from unknown quantities. Look for somebody that has pedigree, and they have very stable and reputable financial standing. That's why I gave the example of Lekki Gardens. And they have so many names now. Anywhere you see it, it's the same problem. So study who you are dealing with. If you deal with unknown quantities, most likely you'll run into the same problem. I have a friend that encountered it, and the group of buyers came together and practically took over the project at the time after having paid the guy. So they have to take it over from him, and they undertook the completion on their own. So study your buyer without credibility, without pedigree, without reputation, positive reputation. Don't deal. All right. But for people who are investing, who wants to finance, okay, I want to buy, I have some money, I don't have the balance. I've spoken about it. You can borrow short term. Don't borrow long term in Nigeria financial system. The rate of interest is killing. But if you know there's a source of money that is going to come next year, it's only for maximum 2 years. I can bridge it. It's fine. You can borrow.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, let me take some questions from the chat box before we return to the people who have raised their hands. I have two questions here. Number one says, how can someone recover capital investment from a developer who refuses to deliver on his promise? Again, how can someone recover his capital from a developer who refuses to deliver on his promise? Number two says, how can low-income earners benefit from this opportunity? I mean, to have another source of steady income. How can a low-income earner benefit from a source of steady income through real estate business? You can take the two questions. Yes.
All right. How can you recover from a developer that has failed to deliver? It's difficult, but one option, that the one that I will recommend, is to go via arbitration. Especially if there are many prospective buyers that have been similarly affected. So all the buyers will need to come together and engage with the developer to say, look, so what do we do from here? I'll give you the example of one situation where all the buyers put themselves together, took over the project, undertook the completion on their own, even though they are supposed to have a finished paying. So the extra they spent, they can then litigate on that one. But that will be after taking possession, taking value, enjoying the value. The other one that I do not really favor, but it could be the ultimate result, is litigation. You take the developer to court and then sue him for whatever, for the court to compel him to deliver or to return your money. But I don't recommend that because it could take a long time. At the end of the day, there's no assurance that you are going to get any reasonable relief from it. The other question is, how can low-income earner benefit? Like I said in the presentation, real estate investment is scalable and is mutable. Scalable, so you must find where your pocket fits. So it doesn't have to be, if my pocket can buy a property in Lagos, I'll buy in Lagos. If you cannot buy in Lagos, I'll probably go to Ota. If you cannot buy Ota, some people are living in Ifo, up to Abeokuta, they are all still valuable investments once you make it. And they will return according to the scale that you invested. But that is one, if you are working solo. If you are not working solo, you could go into a pool. Why must you, if you are low income and your own singular income is not able to afford a single purchase, why can't you form a team? Work with your brother, work with your sister, work with your friends. You can put your resources together who are in the same situation, and a pool of you who can share in a single property, and that's still good investment. So we'll scale according to our capability, and we scale according to our affordability. But it's mutable. That means if you do small today and God blesses you as we pray, and you move higher, you can transfer from that small into a bigger one. You can sell that small one and then reinvest into a bigger one later.
Thank you so much, sir. Let me call on Ibrahim Fashola, one of our directors in HNA. You ask question, please. Go ahead. Ibrahim Fashola. Okay, while we are expecting his question, let me take from the chat box here. Someone says, this is from Architect Abdul Kabir. Any Islamic finance option for real estate development? The question is there any Islamic finance option for real estate development? That's number one. Let me take another one. Somebody says, how can young investors make entry into real estate market looking into the volatility of the economy? That is similar to what you asked with respect to the low income earners, perhaps. Maybe you have answered that, well, except you have additional insight to share. And next, okay, that's all from the box now.
Okay.
Okay. Should I wait? Okay. Sorry.
Let him take this one. Let him take so that you can come and go ahead, sir.
Okay, so for the young investors, I think we already provided the answer with the low income question. For early Islamic finance option for real estate, yes. I'm not an expert in Islamic finance, but I had a glimpse into it, and they have a range of products that can address real estate investments and developments. So their own products is usually, they could call it, look, let us jointly own and then sell this development later. Or they could say, look, we'll build it for you. So if they study your cash flow, we'll build it for you. And then they will do one I've seen before, you do rent to own. So you start paying us rent, and then you start buying it back piecemeal, over time. But there is Islamic finance products, a couple of products that they offer for real estate investment finance.
Thank you, sir. Alhaji Fashola, you may go ahead with your question, please. Are you there?
Hi. Apologies, please. Assalamu alaikum, sir. My questions are, the first one is, we have the, I think, Ministry of Finance Incorporated, MRIF. There is a project of MRIF in which Ministry of Finance, I think they have about 1 trillion, or is it 100 billion, marked for mortgages and housing scheme for all Nigerians. So I just wanted to help us touch on the possibility. Well, what are the possibilities? Because we know it's I think it's at 9%. We don't know whether we have a Muslim or those ones that are Sharia compliant in that particular scheme. So that's the first question. Then the second question is that we also have the pension scheme that allows us to access 25% for mortgages. Do we have federal mortgage banks that Muslims can, go to have Sharia compliant mortgage plans? Or do you have other entities, that you can point us to access such, plans in a Sharia likely manner? And if there are also investments in that area for interested realtors, because we have potential, we have a huge expanse of land, about 13 acres, that is open for this type of real estate development project. So we don't know if there are opportunities in that scheme, the bankers, the government circles, that you can give us the opportunity of seeing what they have for that part. And then my last question, that's the third one, is if I have a 13-acre of land, during your presentation, you said there are mixed use opportunities. So what will you give me as your advice for the type of development to put on a 13-acre land, if that land is around somewhere like near Redeem, for example? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Very good questions. First one, Ministry of Finance Incorporated. Ministry of Finance Incorporated, they are going to launch, how many billion did you call it?
About 1 trillion or so.
Oh, 1 trillion. All right, so that would be interesting. I mean, it's a good plan that they want to provide that funding for mortgages. And it's not new. It's probably going to be an expansion or upscale of what Federal Mortgage Bank claims to be doing right now, even though the effect is almost meaningless. Federal Mortgage Bank is financing mortgages. The last I checked, I don't know what they are considering. The last I checked, the maximum you could get out of that money was 5 million naira. I don't know what, or maybe it's 50 million naira. I don't know.
I think it's 50 million naira now.
It's 50 million naira now. So I believe the same thing is going to apply to this, money the Ministry of Finance Incorporated is going to float. They want to spread it as much as possible to as many beneficiaries as is possible, and that will limit what they could give to any single individual. But my advice, if you can get it, take it. Although it's not coming in the form that is Sharia compliant. So I will leave that to the scholars in our midst to advise us. But my own personal perspective is: look, if you are, they say, I know that in Sharia too, they say if you are hungry and the only thing that is available for you to eat so that you won't die is pork, they say you are advised to eat it, but don't take more than you need to survive at that point in time. But I'm not a scholar. So if you have opportunity to get to access that money at %, as cheap as it is, please take it. Then you can then add it, incorporate it into other sources that you have to do something meaningful. Definitely the quantum may not meet your own exact requirement. Although, well, if you scale down, the quantum may also be beneficial. Pension scheme money, okay, that says you can access 25% of your pension savings to support a mortgage. Yeah, it's also good. I've advised a lot of people. My advice is, as much as your pension that you can access and release upfront is good for you. Simply because of Nigeria's inflation. Nigeria's inflation has been bad for pension. I saved up my pension for God knows how many years. And by the time it came out, the value is nothing to write home about. So if anybody is working and depending on, relying on the pension that you have saved over the years, that person is sure to end in penury. So if you can release your pension savings and invest it in a well-considered subject in real estate, I believe is something you should go for. And when you invest in real estate, like I said, you can leverage it. You can look for additional financing from wherever. If you get the one that is 9%, it's excellent. Even if you are going to get the one of 30%, then you calculate immediately. Oh, this 30% money, if I use it, that means I can acquire this property, finish it, and let it out, or sell it, or sell part of it immediately after, to release money to immediately repay the costly money. The costly money is not good for long-term engagement, but it's good enough for short-term opportunities. Then your last question is: you have 13 acres of land in somewhere around the Redeem Camp. What can you do? What can you do with it? There are so many options. I have no assurance that they are the best or they are appropriate. But in my head, you can build a resort. You can build a mixed somewhere where a lot of people will come to for recreation. And then you have residential units there, you have conferencing units there, and then you have hotel lodging facilities. That combination in my head, we should be able to work for that location, but you need some more detailed study to be able to conclusively advise you. This is what's off the cuff that I'm thinking of. If I had that parcel in my hand, that's what I'll be thinking of. But again, I'm going to be very, very patient. I'm going to be very, very, deliberate. Take time to study it, look at the cash flow, look at the potential before taking the first step. Yeah, Allah make it easy.
Thank you so much, sir. I have a few other questions here for you. And someone says that this is from Oshodi Tobi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sir. I'm also an accidental real estate agent too. My question is, what are the nitty-gritty one can apply in order to able to close a deal, especially on JV? On different occasions, I've gone for inspection on JV. At the end of the day, it will collapse. Secondly, a real estate agent as a real estate agent on side also, how can I get a direct developer for JVs?
Okay.
That's the question, sir.
All
Two
right.
questions.
Well, the last part of the question, you probably know more than me. You are, a real estate agent, which is in the marketing level of the value chain. You will know better, because I also look for, when I have, transactions, I have to look for real estate agents to work on such levels. But what I think is, if you have, you are looking for, venture partners, it's to advertise it just the way you advertise the property that is in the market too. But look for, so the type of financing that is called for. So you have to look for fora where the presence of I will recommend, look at the popular elite clubs, and they have advertisement boards. So you go advertise your offerings there. If you go to Ikoyi Club, go to Highland Club, the Lagos Lawn Tennis Club, go to Eko Club. So such places is where people in this class would frequent, in addition to the popular social media that you also use. I think that will be able to get to there. But requirement for JV is the requirement for any viable real estate development. So what is viable as a real estate itself is what can lend itself to attraction for JV partners. So location, title, design, those are the principal considerations. Oh, you are muted, Bashir.
Sorry, I have one more question thank you. I have one more question for you, after which I would call on Chairman of H&H. There are some other questions that we have to answer. And the question says, as a beginner in investment, how can you build self-confidence in starting and building trust in joint venture?
Okay, somebody is reminding us that it's for Salat. All right, so as a beginner, like we mentioned, nobody is excluded from real estate investment. It accommodates everybody. It's to start small, to scale to your level. So look for something that your hands can grasp. You can, muster on your own, and you use as a learning pedal. That's my honest advice. Taking into consideration too, even if it is 5 million that I can invest, all right, so where are the locations where 5 million can fit? We'll consider all the locations where 5 million can buy something. And then from that range, you want to choose the one that is most attractive to you. Inside that location, what can I do with it? What can I do there that will yield, something good that will have the potential to grow in future? You also follow that consideration. But you are scaling to your capability. You are not going to be under any pressure, and you learn from that. From there, you are also going to be probably exposed to opportunities. And once you see bigger opportunities, you can drop this one and move to the next one. One of the, maybe I forgot to mention, one of the major problems in real estate is also greed. I didn't remember to put that. Let us eschew greed. Greed is, I have this one, is good. I've seen another one, which is looking better, and I want to do that one. But my money is still in this one. You don't want to drop this one. You want to grab the one that is better. And then that is what forces people to go and take a costly financing, something that they will not be able to sustain. It's not good. So if you want to be progressive, don't be greedy. If you see something better, Drop the one that is in your hands. As good as it is, you have seen something better. Move on to the better one. But drop this one. Then when you have the better one, the day will come where you can hold two together at a later stage.
Thank you so much, sir. I have one hand raised up, but before I call on that hand, let me call on Alhaji Ashaju, please. Alhaji Ashaju, there are questions, one or two questions on H&H. How can H&H help a new starter build business portfolio or securing halal loan? Alhaji Ashaju, are you there? Okay, so that's number one. I hope you got that question. I have another one for you too. He's asking about how can one join H&H? You can briefly answer those two questions before I call on.
Yes. Okay, how can H&H help a new starter build a business portfolio or securing halal loan? Well, this building business portfolio may be advisory. We are made up of professionals in different fields: lawyers, chartered accountants, marketers, salespeople, communications people, engineers. So if you are a fresh starter from experience of the club, we can advise you, and we can also recommend to people like our brother, brother that is a big brother that's talking to us today, if it's something we cannot handle. And those are going to be free of charge, because I mean, the sky is wide enough for everyone to fly. So it's in that area basically. Then securing halal loan. Even within the club, we don't give loan. We only give Qardul Hasan to people that are in distress among our members. So taking loan is not what we do. We finance businesses if we do our due diligence and you appear promising and you are going to keep to the rules. So we don't give loan. We can, however, talk to banks, Jais, Taj, Lotus, if you have a good business plan that we believe they can assist you with, because we have friends in those spaces. But definitely we cannot influence their criteria for picking those who will qualify. I've also applied in the past and I didn't get it, so not to even talk of someone we are going to recommend. So may Allah make our affairs easy. Alhaji can also address how to get halal loan if he's able to help in that area. Then the second part, how can participants join or invest in H&H investments? So I said earlier, we are 19, and that's the maximum number for membership. But we are eager and ready to help mentor clubs. We have a couple of clubs we are mentoring currently, about 3. And when we go for gatherings where we see Muslims, we sell the idea to them to form their own investment clubs. So I've spoken in fora also where I advise brothers and even sisters to start something like this. Start small and scale, like Alhaji was saying. So it's as good as joining us, because once in a while you'll be joining our meetings. We'll have delegations in your own meetings, and then we'll superintend until you're able to stand on your own. But joining our investment is welcome. We have a couple of things that we do that are beyond our purse. So we seek people of like minds to invest, and you can be sure that it's always transparent and your investment is secure, provided that the business is also doing well and we don't run into troubles. So you can take the secretary's number who has been communicating on the platform or the email, and then we can take the conversation further. So either to mentor your club, to put money in investment that we see. So that's how we operate. But loan, no, we don't do loan. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much. We need to wrap up as quickly as possible. I have one more hand up. Sulaiman Adebeshin, you can go ahead with your question before we draw the curtain today.
Okay, thank you for the presentation, sir, and thank you to H&H for creating this platform for us. All right, now my question is this. From your experience, sir, would you say that building apartments and renting them out to make rental income is a good use of capital, considering, how long it will take for one to recoup, their capital?
Okay. The simple answer to that is not one singular answer. It depends on what is your investment objective. In the presentation, I listed a couple of investment objectives. Some people investment objective is, look, I just want assurance that me too, I'm a landlord. And then you also, if it is to assure yourself that me too, I have a house to my name, and I'm now getting some regular income from it, that's going to be good enough. Some other people is, look, this is purely business. It has nothing to do. I don't want, even if you don't record it in my name, it's okay. Just let it bring money. So if your motivation is more of economic than emotional, then just getting rent is not going to be good enough. I told you, if it is pure economics, the best you can get out of real estate investment is the leverage power while you are still holding it. Is the power to release money out of it and you put it into something else. Otherwise, the best economic results that you can still get is to sell what you bought yesterday. If you bought it yesterday at 5 naira and it's now 8 naira today, you realize your profit and move on to something else. But waiting to get rent traditionally does not give any commensurate return on real estate investment. The best of rent will give you between 5 and 7% of your investment outlay, which is not going to be anything that you can call commensurate. You can get much better even by holding a simple commercial bank deposit. But the real estate can appreciate over time. That is one. The real estate can allow you to draw capital and invest it in something else. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes,
I have
you.
another questioner here.
And that will be final, please, because it's summertime.
Who I will especially introduce is a former chairman of Magodo Resident Association. Coincidentally, he shares same name with our presenter, lecturer. His name is Engineer Sharif Daramola. He's also the president of International Federation of International Facility Management Association, Nigerian chapter. So, Alhaji Sharif, please go ahead, Engineer Sharif, with your question or intervention.
Thank you very much for this invite. I see it as a very good privilege. And I thank the organizers for having this meeting. My brother, Bashir, thank you so much for this invite. And my namesake for giving a distinguished lecture. Now, straight to the point, I've followed your presentation and I realized that there should be an inclusion in real estate portfolio and investment. And what am I talking about? In the issue of managing effectively this real estate. Most times, in all cases, is to say, we forget about the management of this portfolio after being delivered. And if you ask me, over time, at least 50 years of the structure was still building after the construction. But what happened within that 50 years is consistent management and maintenance. So Alhaji Sharif lecture was quite apt, and it talks about some areas around the potential risk in real estate. which for me, I will add in a small presentation for maintenance, which reduces the life cycle of the property. Then it talks about the potential benefits also, that is including management of the real estate portfolio from the concept of the property. If we are engaging an architect, engineers, quantity surveyors, I also encourage us to include a facility management portfolio in that for the sustainability of such assets. Segmental options in real estate, you also talk about it. You have identified 6 segments options, and under the professional services, it is my suggestion also to include facility management inclusion in supporting the project development. So there are also a portfolio around why facility management when we have real estate, when we have properties. That's another discussion next time if we have an opportunity. But there are real estate, they have property assets, structures and surroundings. Why facilities look at the operations, maintainability, schedule. I believe that most of these structures that are collapsing, if we have facility managers inclusive from the concept of the design, we have less of this risk happening. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I want to leave the floor, and H&H, you're doing a great job. This is my first time of hearing about the organization, and I intend to be part of you, if you permit me. Thank you so much. I give the floor.
Yeah, most welcome, sir. Thank you so much, Engineer Sharif. One of these days, inshallah, we will take the center stage here, giving us your insight, your professional experience as well. We can tap from your wealth of knowledge, inshallah. We'll definitely extend our invitation to you. Thank you for your intervention, notwithstanding. I think it's been a long time. I mean, we need to...
Does Alaji want to react?
Okay, Alaji.
Well, okay. I mean, I'd like to thank Engineer Sharif for that addition, and I wholeheartedly adopt, what he has suggested. Facility management is a very, very critical part of the value chain, especially after acquisition. So it's also a major risk area, risk factor in real estate management. So I adopt his intervention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So without much ado, I will call on our Vice Chairman in person of Alhaji Dimeji Olona to give closing remarks and also do a presentation of flag. Sorry, we couldn't because it's a virtual session, and we want to give a token of our appreciation to our big brother, our uncle who has sacrificed his time to share his experiences with us, just to appreciate him as well. Alhaji Olona, are you there, sir?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I think my job is simple because all the participants have shown appreciation to our guest lecturer. My own is just to add that on behalf of everybody on this platform, we say Jazakumullahu khairan, sir, for a job well done. Now, on behalf of Alhaji Razak Ashadu, the chairman, and all members of H&H, we wish to tell you that no amount of money can compensate you adequately for your preparation and delivery and presentation of this particular topic. But take us as it is, so we are giving to you this plaque to just show our token of appreciation. So it will be given to you live after the whole program. Thank you very much, Alhaji Sharif Mujirola Yusuf. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is, I believe it's my in-law that is speaking.
Yes, sir.
You should have asked me to prostrate while you are, because I was because I took a wife from him.
Yeah. So thank you, Alhaji. So on behalf of the H&H, we also want to appreciate everybody that has taken time to participate in this particular seminar. This is our 19th seminar, and we continue to continue in this particular light. So you are welcome. We have details already. So the next time we're meeting, I think the secretary will get across to you.